it's Kate Reynolds here. Welcome to my studio. Today I'm going to show you how to do some sort of crafting with just using, obviously we can't get a hold of clay, but you could have a go making a vessel using cardboard and paper. So what I've got here, which has inspired my idea, is this piece that's a vessel that I've used to put lemons in at the moment. But it's made of thin pieces of veneer wood, which have been first of all painted, and then that strip cut up into finer strips, thin strips, and then joined with rivets at each end. Okay, so it's sort of quite a nice, useful vessel to put all sorts of bits and pieces in. It just looks nice. So if you want to have a go, it's just fun to make something like that. So this was my first prototype, and I just used a cereal packet like this, and I cut it up into strips. I think there were 7 strips there, and I used split pins at each end to join them together and secure them. Okay, so that's sort of just straightforward prototype, no decoration or whatever on that one. Oh, and obviously you could use the graphics on a packet to add to your design. It could be part of your design. So then I went ahead and tried this one. So I used some sheet music. So I collaged some sheet music onto a piece of cardboard. And on the other side I used wrapping paper that's got some ducks on, and tissue paper. Okay. And this one, I used wrapping paper again with sort of flowers. And that one's got some sort of Christmas wrapping paper on it. Okay, so you could find all sorts of things that you could use to do your collaging. A few suggestions. I told you about some sheet music. There's a tax disc you could cut up. Stamps, lots of different stamps. You know, anything you want to, any sort of mementos or something you want to keep and use to make a decorative impact on your piece. That's a chocolate wrapper. But you could do this with, if you've got some thick watercolour paper, you could actually do a painting first, paint onto your paper and cut it up into strips and do it that way, use that. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is get your piece of cereal box. If you're using you want some thin cardboard. It's easy to work with. So what you want to do is first of all just cut into it and cut up the side and take out the front or back panel. So it's handy if you've got sort of long nose scissors, just easy to work with, or you could use a knife and a ruler. Okay, so I'm going to use this knife and ruler. I have got a cutting mat here. You could use a thick pad of paper though, or if you've got an old board, that would do the job. So you don't damage your table or your worktop. Okay, so I'm going to just cut this bit off. Cut this up a bit tidier. This is a bit like blue pizza because I've got one that I've made earlier. Okay. So cut off these waste bits at the end that you don't need. Okay. Okay. So you've got a panel like that. And with your panel like that, you can then start collaging onto it. Now I've used some PVA glue, so this is my shreddies packet, and I've started to collage onto it. I don't know whether you can see that. So I'll take the cutting mat away. And I've got PVA glue here in a bowl with a little bit of water because it helps it paint better. It's not so sort of thick. So if you sort of stir that in and then just start daubing it all over your piece of cardboard. So find anything you want. You have your wrapping paper nearby. I'm just going to go with the duck theme. But it's useful to have maybe a background colour. I was using this green. You can tear it or you can cut it. Okay, so I just put some more background on here. So if you paint over and under, then you get a sort of stronger sort of adherence, and then everything else goes on really well. Anything you stick on, stick it in place. Okay, I've got a couple of stamps on here as well. So that's how you build it up, and although it looks white at the moment, that will dry clear. It doesn't take too long to dry, but you could use a hairdryer, because if you want to get on with that side, get that dry to work on the other side. So I'll just get my hairdryer and give it a blast. Okay, so once you've finished the whole side, your dry is out, or you could just leave it to dry in the room and then go on to the other side. So this is the one I've done earlier. So on this side I put numbers, which I had from some occasion. I can't remember, I was doing somebody's door number, so I printed off a load of numbers. There we go. And on the other side I've got lots of stamps, and I've even used bits of envelope and things on there. So they're all sort of random. It doesn't really matter how you do it, because it's all going to be sliced up anyway to give you an overall effect. So with the cutting mat, you want to cut equal strips. Now this one I cut just with scissors. You know, they're not very straight, but I mean, I did it by eye. You know, and you can attack it with some scissors. So I could just trim this bit up here, the edge, neaten that up, and let's just see. Let's just neaten this bit up here. And at the other end. Okay, so I'm going to now cut the first strip. Now on my cutting mat it does give me centimetres, so I could work to those measurements. So I could line it up, cut my first, let's say 3 centimetres a strip. Okay, here's the first cut. That's the first one, and then I'll go another 3 centimetres. So what I'll do is just, won't bore you with cutting all of them out. I'll do a couple. Okay, so here are my first 2 strips. I'll just do 3 there. Actually, I think I might as well just continue and show you how to put it together. Okay, so it doesn't take too long. So this piece has been drying overnight. It's completely strong. And then the last one. So you want about 5. An odd number is better than an even number, because I have found that if you make 4 strips, the actual dish doesn't stay upright, it falls over, because you need a sort of flat base. There we are, there's 5. Okay, so once you've got your 5 strips, or you could have 7, You could sort of jiggle them about a bit upside down so they don't necessarily have to correspond with how they were originally. So I'm going to then stack them on top of each other. Now let's do 2 at a time. And then with my pad of newspaper here, I've got a nail. Okay, so I'm going to tap that nail into the end there, about 1 centimetre in, and make a hole. Okay, you can sort of jiggle that around and open up the hole a bit. That's one end, and then the other end. Okay, hopefully I haven't gone through to my bench. Okay, so that's the other end. And then you proceed with the other 2. Fiddly. And this end. Okay, so the holes are right through there. Then the last one. Right, I was thinking of all sorts of things you could collage with, maybe maps of places you've been, tickets, places of interest, just sort of your memories, or it could be writing or notes. That would, you know, calligraphy would look quite good. Okay, so what you do then is just stack them on top of each other. And I'm now pushing my split pin through to the back. Okay, so that's them all, the first 5, all stacked on top of each other. So I've sort of made a fan. Now to do the other end, you take the bottom one and put that one on the top, and then the next one goes behind it. So you're reversing the order they were in the first time round. And then that creates your overlap and your shape. Okay, my next split pin, here we are. So 1 and 2 and 3. Now I could have had the numbers on the inside and the stamps on the outside. You can reverse it up. Okay, so that's my stamps that way, and that's the pins securing it at that end. Okay, so there we are, there's the one I've made with the stamps, and there's the numbers on the outside. Okay, I'll put some shells in there, or I could put my crayons. At home I use this one, I put sort of glasses and sunglasses in it. Okay, so that's my little make for today, my little crafting project. So have a think about it, decide what you'd like to use. As I say, you could use a painting that you've done or a watercolour and cut that up and use that. Or you could use any sort of mementos or bits and pieces, maps, tube maps. I've got some maps here. So you could tear those up and make a sort of a decorative object. And it's really quite fun to do. Okay, have fun. Bye.